The following podcast contains movie spoilers and mature content, including graphic descriptions of violence. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Opening Kill, the podcast that dives deep into the chilling world of horror films. Every Thursday, we explore a different movie, from cult classics to modern masterpieces, uncovering behind-the-scenes secrets, analyzing themes, and sharing fun facts about your favorite horror films. Join us as we chat with filmmakers and fellow horror film fans to celebrate the fear in cinema. And now, the hosts of Opening Kill, Michael Doran and Brian O'Connor.
Hello, Michael Duran.
I'm here, Brian. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
You know, hanging in there, living life.
All right.
Loving it.
Have a good week?
Yeah. You know, it wasn't bad.
Okay. All right.
My kid has been not sleeping at all.
Which means you're not sleeping at all.
Nope. So I have been a scotch of grumpiness in my...
No, not you.
No.
Not you.
Never, not once. But yep, here we are.
Welcome to episode 25 of Opening Kill. And we are going to do a very cool movie from 2017 called The Ritual.
Yeah.
We're actually on location this week. We're not in our regular shindig
I know.
here. This is great. Our
We're out in the wild.
comedian friend Josh wanted to be a part of this, so he invited us over to his studio, and that's where we are going to be doing the podcast from this week.
That's right.
So we'll get into The Ritual here in just a bit. I want to thank all of our new listeners who have checked us out over the last week. We appreciate that. Keep that coming
Yeah,
as
especially
well.
that one in Australia.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah, they downloaded every episode.
Yeah. We had somebody do that in Illinois. They did, I think we were up to, at that point, 15 episodes, and they downloaded everything in one sitting and went through it. So that takes something. But yeah, definitely. So as far as movies I've seen, I've watched a ton of movies over the past week, but the one that I'm going to tell you about is from 1979. It's called Tourist Trap.
Oh,
and it's basically what you would think a 1979 horror film would be. It's about
I don't know, man. This one's weird.
This is very weird. It's a group of friends. They get stranded at a secluded roadside museum. They are stalked by a masked assailant who uses his telekinetic powers to control the attraction's mannequins.
Yeah.
Which is very strange. Two big names were in it at the time, Chuck Roberts and Chuck Connors and Tanya Roberts. They were in it, and we don't know who anybody else was, but very bizarre movie. But, you know, it was kind of fun. I would drink a bit before you watch it, and then maybe you'll enjoy it a little bit more.
That one, like, you're never going to convince me that man didn't telepathically bang every single one of those mannequins.
Oh, you know that. You know
yeah.
that. Yeah, definitely.
And his voice, like, he had, like, I can't remember. It was either the deepest voice you've ever heard or the highest pitched voice you've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like, which one was it?
It was both, I think.
Okay, yeah. No,
I mean, it was.
I remember
it was bizarre.
watching this and like years ago and being like, "What the fuck is this?"
K Ultra, you know.
Now you're on. Yeah.
All right, we're good. Yeah, he's like, they're like, we're just gonna keep him.
Yeah, it's fucking,
And keep Josh quiet for a bit.
I was like, just hitting him with zingers over here. Why can't anybody hear me?
That's why.
I was just like, what was mom doing in that film? Mannequins.
She was really proud of it.
Banging everybody. Jeez.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's basically the plot.
What did you watched something much better?
I watched Clown in a Cornfield, which was a lot of fun. That was I actually took my nephew to it because that was his birthday gift from me. As I'm like, I'll take you to the movies, and he liked it as well. A lot of fun. It's a great little throwback slasher.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, it's a modern one, but it feels just like such a kind of like a '90s one.
It does, and it starts in '91.
Yeah, true.
Which is
there's
kind
a
of
little
cool.
nice little throwback scene there. So I'd say check it out, especially since it does something kind of different in the last act that really kind of sets it apart. And I really liked it.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah.
I did. That was one of the movies I saw as well, and it was surprising, but I enjoyed it. Very
I mean,
much.
and I've read the books, and I would say they actually really followed it very, very closely.
I was going to ask you because I haven't read the book, and we were talking last night if you know how closely that one follows the book.
Yeah,
and,
they nailed it. It was really, really good. And then I did also see The Ugly Stepsister, which holy fuck.
Oh, I told you. That one was twisted.
I didn't expect to see butthole.
You see everything in this movie.
You see butthole. You see a erect penis.
Whoa!
This is a new one. It
This
just
is a
came
new
out.
one, and it's is it Norwegian?
Yeah, it's
the
Norwegian.
Europeans, they're
Oh my gosh.
so advanced.
They are. They are. Yeah, it just came out on Shudder like a few weeks ago. And The Ugly Stepsister, it's a twisted take on Cinderella. And yeah.
It's really good though.
I told you.
Like I'm really good with gore, but there is the nose job scene. I couldn't. I like had to. had my headphones in with it. I had to take them out. I'm like, I can't even hear this shit right now.
Do you think that's what they're doing though? They're inching, no pun intended, closer to getting away with a mass viewed movie, cinematic project that just shows full penetration.
I mean, that's the dream,
goal?
right?
Well, it's a dream. We know it's the dream. I'm just saying, is it going to get to that
Are
point?
we advanced enough?
Yeah, and
for
I'm
it?
not saying this isn't to be crass. This is, I want to know
It's art.
what the trajectory of because with AI, we're going to have to find more ways to keep us connected to.
That's true. I think
humanity
we will
here.
eventually see full penetration in a mainstream movie.
I'm not saying I want to in that.
right.
Yeah, well, speak for yourself. Okay,
nudge. But no, I think so. I think we will eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe year 2027.
You think by 2027?
That's my guess.
It's like we'll end the war in
see.
Ukraine and,
Yeah, that's
and full penetration in a horror film.
Boom. The 1-2 punch.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I have some very sad news to report.
Oh, no.
Morris the alligator has died.
Oh, fuck.
I know. Morris is best known for his starring role in the 1980 horror film Alligator and its 1991 sequel, Alligator 2, The Mutation. He was also in the films Happy Gilmore, Interview with the Vampire, Blues Brothers 2000, Eraser, and Dr. Dolittle 2. Morris passed away at his home at
Dr. Dolittle 2.
at the Colorado Gator Farm. And the farmers decided to have Morris taxidermied so that he can, quote, continue to scare the little children for years to come. It's what he would have wanted.
I love
unquote. That. Morris the alligator was more than 80 years old.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they last.
They can last.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was the same one from Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Same one.
What
He
was-
was a celebrity alligator.
How old's Happy Gilmore at this point?
Ooh, that was 90s, right?
Right?
So it's
Almost
30
40
years.
years.
30
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
God,
30.
Morris was just a teenager.
He was just a little guy.
He had the world in front of him. Yeah, my news is less sad.
Okay.
So, Headless Horseman. We're going to get a new movie from the brothers that did Daybreakers, the directing duo. But it's going to be reinvented. It's going to have a desert setting with a motorcycle riding decapitated ghoul. So it's kind of like Mad Max meets Sleepy Hollow.
Okay.
Filming is going to be in Australia. It's going to start later this year. And I don't know how I feel about it. I think I would prefer just like a normal version. But I mean, if you're going to do it again, I guess do something unique with the take.
Sure.
And they're definitely doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
We'll see.
When is that coming out, or do we know?
They're going to start filming.
They're gonna
next
start
year,
filming.
So who
All right.
knows?
Okay.
It's Australians. They got nothing better to do, but
No,
Yeah.
they got nothing.
That's it.
they do better from their criminal past. That will make a Headless Horseman. It's not even numbered here, right? Is that what it is? Headless
Yeah.
Horseman?
It's just
It's just the Headless Horseman. They don't have a title yet.
They haven't even named it yet. Yeah.
It bothers me. I mean, it bothers me when I find out how many actors are Australian and they've only done parts that are with an American
Yeah.
accent. That bugs me.
Does it?
It's appropriation that I just don't. I'm not ready for. Like you listening to Hugh Jackman in an interview, and you're like, "You son of a bitch, you're faking." I thought you were a cool American.
Yeah. For a long time, we all did.
Yeah.
I know.
Nah, he's from down under.
Yes, he is. So this week's movie, it's one that Josh picked out, is it not?
did.
Yeah, it's called The Ritual from 2017. Just the Facts, written by Joe Barton, based on the novel by Adam Neville, directed by David Bruckner, stars Rafe Spall, Arshur Ali, Robert James Collier, Sam Trofton, and Paul Reed. This was released in the United Kingdom October 13th, 2017. They waited a few months to release it here in the U.S., came out February 9th, 2018. Made $2 million at the box office. Don't know how much they had to spend on it, but they're keeping that a secret. Filming started in October of 2016, concluded the following month. It was shot in Romania, has a runtime of 94 minutes. It is The Ritual.
It's a good one.
I get so excited about this movie. It didn't do particularly well, but there's just something about this movie that I've enjoyed, and I'm sure it got most of its prominence with the old Netflix release.
Yeah, that's where I didn't even know it had a theatrical release. I thought it was just kind of like they dumped it on Netflix.
Yeah, well, but it's the 2 million in the box office, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Right?
No,
I mean, that's more money than I've ever had, but it doesn't sound good when you're talking about
a major motion picture.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like a, ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the entitled run or just the opening day?
Right.
Yeah, so I like you, Michael, had not heard of this until it came out on Netflix, and it was in my watch list, and I hadn't seen it yet, and then we were talking about this a few months ago, so I watched it, and I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. No, it's a cool one.
It really is. So it follows 4 college friends who reunite for a hiking trip in the Swedish wilderness to honor their recently murdered friend. They decide to take a shortcut through a forest, and they encounter all kinds of weird shit, eerie symbols. They start having nightmares, and they end up coming upon a hidden cult that worships an ancient Norse creature descended from the god Loki. And as they are hunted one by one, the group's journey turns into a fight for survival. So that's it in a nutshell. So let's get into it. And we start in a place that I'm very fond of, a pub.
Yeah.
A bar.
We all love those places.
We do.
We got our little 5 old friends. We got Phil, Dom, Hutch, Luke, and Rob. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of like discussing plans for a group trip they're going to take together. And Rob is, hey, let's hike in Sweden. But the rest of them, they're like quickly like, no, like we don't want to do that. That doesn't sound like a vacation to us. But later in the evening, the group exits the pub and they pass a shop. And Luke is the alcoholic of the friend group.
Yes.
He definitely has a problem that the other friends aren't ready to confront him
All
on
night
yet.
at the pub.
Yeah.
Still just needs
that fix.
to nightcap with a 5th of vodka.
Yeah, it's like, let's go to this liquor store.
Yep.
So no one else wants to go, and look, he starts kind of like whining, and eventually Rob's like, "Fine, like I'll go with you." And so they step in there, and they walk into the middle of a robbery. Mm-hmm. Yep. And they see like the clerk on the ground, and these 2 junkies. As they
come out of the back room, and
cause a ruckus. Luca hides, which is what I would have done too.
Luke does hide.
Yeah,
He's a coward.
I'm kind of surprised they don't see him, though, because he's not exactly hidden that well.
He's doing a lot of like the peekaboo around
and also
the
this
corner.
wasn't a shady like alleyway liquor store.
Yeah.
There was like a walk. It was like a pedestrian thoroughfare, and they just go in well lit.
Yeah.
It was
very
organized. Like the whole shop looked nice. If you're gonna have a problem, do it in a organized way. And then they look over. They see the poor lady sitting there, and then Luke, he knows, and he just kind of dodges around the corner.
Yeah.
All while holding the bottle that he wants to drink later
he's
that
still
night.
gonna drink. He's
Don't drop the liquor, for God's sake.
No. He does have that moment where he's like, I could use this as a weapon, but then he's like, no.
He looks at it, and I just think he was like, damn, I grabbed the. This is too expensive.
Guess I'm gonna have to leave my buddy to do this on his own.
Right.
And the thugs or the junkies, they ask him to like hand us over your shit. And so
To
he's
Rob,
like, yeah,
who's still
to
standing
Rob,
there.
and
Yeah.
Rob's standing there, not running away. And so Rob hands him over his wallet, and then they want his wedding ring, and he's just like, well, no, I can't do that.
Yeah,
And-
like on principle. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. We've all been through a few of these.
Yeah,
we can give another one up. It's not going to end eventually. It's like, what, these end 50% of the time? Like,
right.
work. It's not,
It's not worth your life.
Yeah, it's your, yeah.
And it's not like you're handing over your wife. It's
Right.
just
And
the
even
ring.
then,
And even then.
if a junkie is threatening you and your boy,
Right.
and he goes, hey, it's a choice. Like,
Yes.
I'm not saying anyway, everybody will do what they're going to do. And I'm just saying,
There were options
there
that
were
he didn't have
options.
to do what he
didn't
did.
have to-
Yeah.
Right.
Because it does end up costing him.
It does.
Yeah,
dearly.
because Rob all of a sudden takes a strike to the head with this
With what?
baton type.
Something.
It's a very bad weapon, which gives us this.
Opening kill.
And this happens pretty quick. This is about 3.5 minutes in before we see this. So quick first kill, and that is Rob.
Yeah, this one is as far as an opening kill, it's gonna get the old butter knife award from me because it's not very graphic.
Well, you don't even really see any contact. They do it. The camera angle is at a way where you tell. I mean, obviously he's not going to really hit him, but it doesn't even look like he hit him with it the first time. And then he hits him.
Pool of blood.
Hits him a second time when he's down, and that's you get the blood.
But I like the punch of it though.
It does have a nice little
because
punch.
rather than it being real dramatic, it was just straight to the point. Like he gets hit, and then he's like, finish him off or whatever, or whatever. He's and the mate, right? He's like, now he has a sense of morality, and he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's like, we came in for 4 pounds, as the British like to say, or whatever,
right?
And I just loved that. I love that. I love thinking about how what did their night look like? He's going, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, what led
that
them
wasn't
here?
the plan.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like,
We just needed a little bit of a fix.
fucked it all up, right?
And now there's
killed the
murder.
guy. And he didn't even get the ring. Or wait, he did. Didn't
I think he
Didn't
probably-
He
I
probably
think
would
they
have
took
at least
the ring.
plucked it
Yeah.
off the old corpse. But
I don't know if. Okay, well,
We never saw it, but I would assume
I would
because that's
assume
what
they
he
did.
wanted. So yeah.
I mean, if you killed him, you better take it.
follow through.
or but sometimes there's panic.
That's true.
True.
Anyway.
True.
Sorry. I have to take an analytical approach to the value, the cost,
Sure.
the risk reward sets in. And
Is this worth the possible jail time?
Well, now we're going to jump 6 months later, where the remaining 4 friends decide to embark on this Swedish hiking trip to honor Rob's memory.
Yeah, because he's the one who wanted to do it.
Yep. So they wake up. It's cold. They're already complaining about how cold it is. And there's a lot of tension.
do you believe in, real quick, do you believe in doing that kind of shit? Like if you had a friend that passed away and you knew that this was his thing, do you think that you would do
It depends on what the activity is. If it's a hike in Sweden, no.
like to honor?
No, I'm not going to hike something. If he wants to, I always wanted to go to Cedar Point roller coaster park. Yeah,
Sure.
I'd do that.
If you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it would highly depend on how badly I wanted to do the
Yeah,
activity.
honoring the fallen is kind of difficult. Like just to be like, he would have wanted this,
Right.
And you're like,
Would
but
he go?
yeah.
I don't know.
yeah,
But
because it was I think it was like either going to Thailand or going to hike, and
Oh, there was one that
Yeah.
it was Belgium, and the guy was like, "Nobody goes to Belgium on purpose." So yeah, that was one of the options they had. That was pretty funny, actually.
Not bad.
So here they are. They're doing this hike, and they get up to this mountaintop peak, and they have a little thing that they build out of rocks for him, and they take a drink, and then they pour out the rest of the
All of
alcohol
it.
in the flask. Here's the thing: there was a lot of alcohol in this flask.
It kept going.
Because there were 4 of them that took swigs off this thing, and he's holding it upside down to empty it after, and it just doesn't stop. It's like,
Stop. Rob's getting too drunk in the afterlife.
right?
this is an afterlife DV
Oh
setup.
my
It's-
gosh.
But I think they also, if you really pay attention, I think it was a little bit of symbolism, right? If they were going to go into some, I don't know if they were being this clever, or I think it was, what is it? I think it was
Rob.
Hutch. What was it?
Yeah,
Hutch that
Yeah, it was Hutch.
he's watching it pour, and he kind of gives a little smirk, and I felt like there was a little symbology of like, hey, we're all older now, like nobody's doing this anymore, like nobody's taking massive, like we're not pounding booze and hiking, we're taking sips,
may
we're
as
gonna
well just
honor
let
him,
Rob have it.
we're gonna do a diet
Yeah.
Coke of honor, just
Right.
a little.
I respect that.
Yeah.
So I caught that little bit, and I was like, all right.
That was a nice little touch. I didn't see that little look.
Layers.
Yeah.
Layers. When you enjoy a $2 million grossing film as much as I do, you look for the nuance, the subtle nuances that give you life lessons. And I'm like, we're all just honoring our dead friends with just
But that's that's
responsibility.
It's an interesting point. Did they do that on purpose, or was it just an accident? And it was like, oh yeah, that worked. Well, because it's interesting.
Well, maybe Dom had a little bit too much.
Dom, your favorite.
Douchebag Dom
Yeah.
falls. Hurts himself.
Dom, doesn't it just all right? When somebody that clearly isn't active, right? Like, and they kind of made him you could tell he doesn't, he just goes to work, successful.
Right.
Remember, they
Yeah.
make a lot of comments about his success and his great life or whatever life, and but they always it's like when they make the person aesthetically, you already don't like him,
Right.
And then they're like, of course, of course he's the one that gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then you hate him and you want him to be the first. You want him to die.
No,
You're
you
like,
do.
they're like, wrong kid died. You want that to have been Robert. You wanted Dom to be Robert.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I did.
Why didn't we kill you first?
Why couldn't that a fall have just killed him?
Yeah. His meniscus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break a back or something.
Well, they're having problems with the train anyway. So then Dom goes and does this, twists his knee. And so now, instead of following the path like they should have, they decide they want to take a shortcut through the middle of this forest.
Right, because they need to get him to a doctor or something. And it's like, this is one of those instances where I'm like, do you just leave him?
Leave him.
Leave him.
I like in a survival situation, I have no loyalty. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, they kind of tried to do it, remember? So they said, one of them was going to stay back. Us powerhouses, houses, we're going to go take care of business. And then Dom was the one that was like, I can do it. I can walk. And you're like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Look at you. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't with a healthy knee.
Let alone the way you are now.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they end up coming across an elk that's been just brutally just stretched up, and it's hanging from the trees now and dripping blood and
Stretched out.
yep, stretched out.
Jesus.
Well, the cavity of its chest open was very vaginal.
Yeah.
Like
It was open and dripping.
Pretty nasty.
that would have sent me immediately out of the
We're done.
woods.
And the thing is they hadn't committed. Like
No,
when you
they
think
hadn't.
of the timeline of the movie, right? Like you think they hadn't committed a ton.
No.
Their travels only brought them so far in. They see it, and they quickly put together the evidence, right? Super sleuths on the trail, and they say, oh, so it's still bleeding. We need to get out of here. And rather than being like, yeah, fuck it, let's just go back to the old, open plateau where we have visibility for days and probably a road. And
Eventually.
they're like, no, we need to keep going.
Let's go deeper into the woods now.
'cause
Yeah.
this makes sense. They're like, what put it up there?
Something big as fuck.
Yeah,
That's an elk.
because it's up there pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, and there's also strange symbols carved in the
liked
tree,
it.
so that's always good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me feel more at home too, and more safe when you see strange symbols not long after you see the gutted elk hanging from the top of the tree.
I'm not brave. I'm
They
not
were
brave.
Norse. They were Norse myth. They were Norse symbols.
Yeah.
But it kind of brought me back to little Blair Witchy.
It is.
Little-
There
it-
is-
little-
this whole movie's
little-
a little Blair
Right.
Witchy.
I think if Blair Witch hadn't have happened, this movie wouldn't have happened. I think it was inspired a lot by Blair Witch with the symbolism and
Probably
and
not.
everything.
Have you read the book?
The ritual.
Yeah.
Yes. Most of it.
Okay.
So I got because I didn't know it was a book.
That's fair.
Yeah, and then I found out who wrote it, and then I wrote to Adam Neville, and I reached out and was like, "Hey, loved the movie," and then I read the book, and the part that it goes right. I mean, the great thing about the book, and I don't know if you read it.
I haven't yet.
I haven't yet either.
So, and no diss to it's just for not reading it all the way through yet, but it's great because it just goes right into their trip. It doesn't do any of the background.
Oh.
not to do a spoiler. Well, I guess
Well,
spoilers.
we do
That's what we
spoilers
do here.
here.
Good,
Yeah.
good. I'll fuck
Yeah.
it. So it goes right into it. So I loved how they elaborated, on these circumstances without the backstory of why, So,
Right.
Yeah, they were all there. So anyway, but yeah, I don't know because with Blair Witch though, the symbol was the witch, right? And then this is kind of Norse.
or whatever. See, I mean, it's just there's just some similarities, like with the ability to alter the woods, which is very Blair Witchy. She could do that too. So, I mean, I think the author definitely pulled some stuff, but it is definitely its own thing as well.
It is, and
for
I'm not
sure.
trying to say that it is Blair
Right.
Witch, but there's a lot of that. Yeah, like
You can
Josh
see the
said.
influence.
Yep, definitely. So they get deeper into the forest. The weather turns nasty. It starts pouring rain, and they come upon this abandoned cabin. And again, the walls of this cabin are covered in these symbols and everything else. So they go in for shelter, and that's when things really start to get weird in this movie.
Luke hears something.
Yep.
On the outside.
Yep.
Yeah, like all
And,
the little,
right, which I loved the sound of. I loved the all the monster sounds.
Oh,
the sound design is
Creature
really good in
sounds.
this.
It
movie.
really
Creature
is.
sounds, right?
Yeah.
They did a good job, and I
Especially with headphones, because I did it with headphones, and it does. It's kind of like in
Mm-hmm.
one ear out of the. Like, it's well done.
Yeah.
But whenever you hear these sound effects or these sounds, do you always wonder? Because I watched the making of Jurassic Park, and it was back when they were doing like the full deep, like they had a whole team that would just go out and research animals making sounds.
Just get different sounds.
Right.
And,
And then I looked at sound, like I follow these people on Instagram where they're sound engineers, and you find out how they're making sounds of like bones breaking and like spines being cracked and whatnot. And I'm like always thinking like, what animal? Was that like a manatee? And
was that a
an
turtle
estrus?
having sex
Yeah,
and then a
right.
lion roaring?
Yeah,
and
it's like, they put it together, and then it was
blended.
like me crying after my first divorce. Like it's like they add it together and they synth in there. Like we took Josh up 3 octaves, and then we brought the manatee down, and then we parted that, and that's the first sound you hear.
Right.
And now we have this beautiful monster sound.
Right. So,
Yep.
yeah.
It's cool. It's a cool sound for sure.
We also have an effigy upstairs that they find, which is
The
really
effigy is
creepy.
cool. Yeah.
That looked really good.
It looks like, it's basically a headless torso,
Right.
with hands kind of like, I don't know,
Yeah.
looking like antlers.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And then chicken feet or bird feet.
bird feet, yeah, something.
Yeah.
It's again, I wouldn't continue on past this point.
No, I would be. I mean, I can understand going in this to
I would
get out
go
of the
into
storm,
it.
but I would be getting right back out the next morning and going back the way I came. At this point, it's getting a little too creepy.
And directions aren't that hard, right? Like, because at that point,
Yeah.
you're like, they got the map, they got the whatever. They're like,
have a
I had
compass.
I had a bit of an issue with the post cabin departure,
Yeah.
with their direction of travel after everything that had transpired.
Right.
I know you.
Well, yeah, 'cause
I don't want to
yeah.
get ahead.
No,
of
you're
notes
fine.
here.
That's-
During
I
the
agree.
night, these gentlemen are plagued with like nightmares. We see Luke's is all revolves around that night in the liquor store, and he ends up getting like these little marks on his chest.
Yeah, it's like a claw. The claw, if it like
Yeah, just like a
darted
little
right,
boom,
bam, right in
and
the chest.
and then the other ones clearly had some nightmares. Who's it? Phil? Is Phil the one naked?
Phil is naked, praying before
He's
the
up-
effigy.
Yeah, I want to know his
He's
dream.
upstairs.
Yep.
Like,
They don't go into his.
They don't, but we do later get Dom's dream.
Right.
But
Hutch pisses himself.
yeah,
And that's a big, that's his big, like,
he's
guys,
like, one time
he's
in
like,
college,
yeah.
I peed myself, and it's just really haunted me ever
Right.
since.
He got away kind of clean.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather be the guy who pissed himself than got
100%.
naked and worshipped a headless
effigy,
torso. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, they decide to leave the cabin the next morning, like nothing happened, and just keep going deeper and deeper into this woods.
But this is also where they all have this nightmare, and they're reconciling like this odd thing that's happened. They've
Yeah.
all collectively, they're writing it off as it's a creepy cabin. And I've stayed at a lot of Holiday Inn Expresses or whatever, and I don't have the same, it's not like, I piss myself, like, well,
I mean, we all
well,
have.
hold
We
on.
all have done it. I mean,
That's what you do at a Holiday Inn Express.
I got to another room. I was praying to it was a lamp, not a effigy. Anyway, so, but I think again, as these horror movies, and I get they have to have a storyline and it has to move forward, but I love also looking at the reality every time. Like no matter how entertaining or how we need the story to unfold, you still have that piece where you're like, what? Yeah. You're just like, maybe something's up.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like someone who would not make an entertaining horror movie because the first minor inconvenience, I'm done. Like I'm going home and this is over.
Like
I'm not brave enough to keep going.
Robert isn't actually worth it.
No,
Like if he's
not this.
overlooking, like if we're doing this for his honor, and we're not to bag on anybody's faith, but just saying, like if you're doing it in their honor, and you're thinking maybe somebody's watching out for us, you're like, well, Robert is fucking us right now, and let's
And if Robert was so special, his wife would be with him,
Right.
celebrating him too.
100%. Where was she?
Yeah, exactly,
yep. Exactly.
because he sucks.
They ruin everything.
Then there's this scene in the morning when they're going back through the woods, and Dom now starts a lot of stuff comes out. Dom starts to blame Luke for Robert's death because Luke didn't do anything, and they get all this tension going back and forth, and so they've got that, and but they end up continuing to move deeper into the forest to try and find the exit so they can get medical help for Dom.
Again, awfully audacity filled for Dom to start causing problems when
Right.
he's crippled.
Yeah.
Dom clearly has things he wants to say about Luke's death.
Yes.
Or no, sorry, about Robert's death.
Yeah.
But Luke's handling of
Right.
Robert. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And they end up coming across a campsite that was abandoned many, many years previous.
Yeah, because
And
they find a credit card, but it's like expired in like 80 something.
something like that. Yeah. So it'd been there for a long time. That doesn't make him feel any better. Wouldn't make me feel any better either. And then we get back to night and they start hearing things moving in the trees. Branches are snapping and there's big footsteps and all this stuff. And that night, Hutch disappears from his tent.
Yep. Yeah, there's some more like nightmare-y stuff going on, and Hutch's tent gets like thrown around, and then they discover him up in a tree, just like the elk.
Just like the elk.
Just like
they
the
did a
elk.
good job with him up there, though.
I like the look of all these kills
Right.
with their bodies up in the trees. I think it's a very haunting imagery. Like it's cool. It's cool as hell.
And I also liked their reactions to seeing it. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, because
It was.
I think they did a good job with
it was very emotional.
the reactions to this poor
Yeah, like,
bastard.
just like imagine like seeing that. Like that shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think, I mean, like, you know, your friends aren't actually up in, you know, like we think about like how we would react to it. And the humor in me wants to just be like, fucking dumbass.
You fucking fell.
Fucking idiot. Yeah. When you're still trying to justify it, it's like, well, here's what happened. He broke his ankle and he, died of exposure. And the same hunters with the elk earlier, or whatever, they just wanted to keep his body away from animals. And
Right.
so they put him up in
They
the
didn't want to
tree.
attract any
Right.
predators. So yeah.
Right. And so, and I think this is at the point where they realize that they are actually really fucked by something.
They are
Yeah.
being
truly
hunted.
fucked.
Yeah, definitely.
Because at this point, is there that scene where Luke's like looking down this line of trees and he sees the fucking hands like 10 feet up where it should not be? Has that
Right.
happened yet?
No, I think
That's
all
one
of
of
them.
the best
Yeah, I
scenes
think
in this
they're all. No, I think
fucking
they're all
movie.
alive because well, maybe. But yeah, it is great. And the thing is unless you're actually really paying attention, you do miss that because it is so
It's very
camouflaged,
subtle. Yeah,
it's subdued, and it's so I actually didn't see it until the second time I watched the
Same,
movie, and
yeah.
then I didn't even go back. I mean, because you see something like you see movement, but it's like to see that hand wrap around the tree high up.
And you do
was cool.
see this creature in the background a lot, like, but
Right.
it'll be like in
Right.
between a tree real quick. But like he's there watching over, and his presence is definitely felt the entire movie, which I think is really cool.
creepy fucking voyeur. You know,
yeah.
he's like
When are these guys
traveling
gonna start
around,
jerking off?
fucking watching these dudes like, ugh. Just
promise more butt fucking.
why they sleep.
Oh man.
Goddamn bastard son of Loki.
That's why he starts. That's why he starts killing them. They're not horny enough.
So he's just like, this is where I do get upset at like the Marvel world, because Loki is and they say that this creature was the bastard son of Loki, and so it's hard for my brain to like be like, that's your
Imagine
kid,
Tom
like who'd you
Hiddleston's-
fuck?
Yeah.
Like Tom Hiddleston. Is it Tom Hiddleston?
I think it's it.
Is
Yeah,
that
Tom
how you say it?
Hiddleston.
Anyway, it's just like, who are you hooking up
What
with?
moose did you fucking
right.
Yellowstone?
Yeah, where were you last in Wyoming, buddy?
Well, Phil is next. Moving on. You see him
Let me
get,
have this.
yeah, you see him get dragged away, and then they end up finding him in the same condition later on in a
This
tree.
thing's got a way he likes to handle business, and he doesn't deviate from his formula.
Right.
And Hutch was hard because he was like the Bear Grylls of the group. I felt like they were like, no, nothing can happen to Hutch.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then Phil goes.
Yep.
And I like that they didn't send Phil first because he's the only diverse. Wait, right?
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like kind of the only diverse. So I was like kind of happy that he kind of stuck it out a little longer.
Yeah, he wasn't the first one.
Right. Because then you're like, wait a minute. This isn't quite.
Yeah.
Come on now.
inclusive.
This is
Come on.
20.
This is
2020. Like,
it was
come on.
20. Well, it was 2017, and even looking back at 2017, you're going, come on,
We were better than this.
We're paying attention.
Yeah.
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 Like they didn't make the junkies. Like that was nice. They didn't make the
Yeah.
junkies. Anyway.
So it's just Luke and Dom now at this point. And they come across this path that has torches on either side of it which leads them to a very small village in the very middle of this forest. And they go into this house that's there, and they get knocked out.
Well, because they see, like, unlike the other house, this one's
Right.
got people in it, so they see this like creepy lady like looking over this wooden sculpture thing, and then they just get kicked in the fucking face. You see this boot.
Yeah.
and you know, as luck would have it, you know, now we're just talking. It's Luke and Dom. These are the only two. The ones conflicted with each other the most.
The biggest fans
of each other. And now, and you're still kind of stoked. Like, you're like, I don't give a shit what happens to Dom.
Right.
So, yeah, it's great.
And it's a good thing you don't.
Right.
Yeah, okay, we'll find out here in a moment.
Right.
But, well, they wake up in a basement of this house.
Tied up.
And it's just a very creepy scene. And at one point, Luke kind of knocks some dirt out from between two of the bricks in the wall or whatever, so he can see if the bricks are wet or what it is.
It's like wood,
something. But they can see out into the yard, and they can see the other villagers out there. And
just building stuff with wood.
Yeah, they're just hanging out with their boys. Just building shit, which is awesome, because you're thinking, if you're going to be out in this situation, it's just like, what are you going to do? Building stuff, learning things.
They're homies.
They're cool with each other. They're all alive.
Yeah.
They're chilling.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Dom eventually gets dragged out, and they're going to sacrifice him to this creature.
Yeah, because they all worship this thing.
They do. Right. And there's a woman that comes in and speaks to Luke. She brings him like food or something, and then
Water. She's kind of hot.
She is kind of hot.
Like, it was nice that there's a good looking,
I like
good-looking
that
villager.
because, and this is kind of a little bit, and I don't want to get ahead, but where Luke is basically like, you're gonna live here now, you know, and they're telling him, and he's like, I ain't fucking.
He's like, no, I want
He's
to.
like, I don't want to do that. I have March Madness or what, you know, whatever. And I'm kind of like thinking, like, hey, man.
Maybe
she was like, and she had a good point. She's like, we just live here forever.
Yeah.
Like, and we worship this guy.
they don't have any bills.
Right. They don't have
nothing.
There's no tariffs.
There's no threat of anything. You just get to chill in the woods and build stuff.
Loki's bastard son is kind of like watching over you, like nobody's fucking with you.
Right.
That's awesome.
All you have to do is kneel down and worship this thing, and you're set.
Right. And I do that every day, you know, in the corporate world. So it's like, what? Like, what?
True. I mean,
the bastard son of Loki, I'd do it. All right. And
I mean, at this point, I'm not going home.
I'm not arguing. I'll worship something.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, we all worship something.
So later that night, Dom is tied up to this cross-like structure, and they're waiting for the creature to come get him. And this is a cool scene because he's delusional, and what he sees is his wife walking toward him, and it's actually not his wife; it's the creature.
Because she can shapeshift.
Yes,
right.
Yeah. And so she comes up to him and puts his face in her hands, and then all of a sudden it flashes to this creature.
Right.
And this fucking thing is so cool looking.
It's so cool. They did such a good job.
It's so unique.
Yeah.
Like, it's because you can just see this like hood, and there's these two little like eyes, and he's got these hands just holding his face kind of lovingly. And then he, kills him.
Picks him up, and he impales him on a tree branch.
Yep.
He only gets one branch through him, though.
Right, looked like it was right through the heart, though.
Yeah, and everyone else, though, has like 80 of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, why does...
Well, because
I would have liked to see him get it worse.
Yeah, but he was like, I'm not going to waste energy on this.
True, it's just Dom.
He's just, it's, what is it? This meat sack is just all butter and opinions. Like,
right.
Like, it takes one branch.
That's true. He's weak.
Wasting. He's like,
he's already got a bum knee.
He's like, you guys really need to pick better sacrifices here. This is it. You guys are on notice.
I'm gonna kill one of you tonight now too.
Just
for this
just
bullshit.
for fun.
Dom was kill number 4 for those of you keeping track at home. And then we get back to Luke, who ends up escaping.
Yeah, he breaks his thumb to get out of his.
Oh, that kind of stuff. I get a little squeamish on. I mean, good on him that he was able to get out of his, binds and everything.
Dude,
but
people's will to live is wild.
Yeah,
in a horror movie.
I guess if I was in that situation, who's to say I wouldn't do that? I don't know, but
I don't think I could.
Watching it is very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So he breaks his thumb, gets out of his bindings, but then he's interrupted before he can fully escape. Like, I think the hot girl comes back.
He gets the he knocks the old woman
Well,
out?
that's when he's after he
later.
escapes because
Okay.
he escapes, he gets free, but then he like pretends to be caught up again when
Right.
someone comes back. To
And
be
that was when the girl comes in and explains the legend.
That's right.
Yeah, and like
That's
this is
right. That's
the
right.
dealio,
And then she leaves, and then he gets loose, and then he goes up this. He's trying to go outside, but
Right.
the old woman, the witch, is coming in. So he goes. That's when he goes upstairs,
Gets the rifle.
and he sees this room, and he goes
Oh,
in.
that's
Yeah,
right.
kind
yeah,
of
he
looks
does-
like a church.
It
room
it
a
looked
little
like
bit.
a
There was pews.
sanctuary.
Right,
yeah.
right, right. And there's
Yeah,
a bunch
so-
of mummified
Right.
people.
which they come to life.
Right. When he's burning it, when he starts
yeah.
burning it.
So like, because when she tells him like you just have to stay here, it's like you basically live forever.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the people have like old timey like pilgrimy clothes, so it's like those ones are really old, but these ones I think are just very very old followers.
Yeah.
and they're just basically turned to dust at this point, but still have
Pretty
some
much
life.
some life force left. So there's a torch. He takes it and he starts lighting them on fire. Then they start writhing. Now I counted, and I could be off on this, but I counted 11 of these things sitting there.
I think that's right because I mean we both ended up with the exact
same number here.
counter. So,
So basically,
I think,
kills 5 through 15 are these things that he torches.
these little
Yeah.
dusty ass
Yeah.
cult members.
Exactly. And that's the next step is he gets the rifle and he's coming down
Got it.
or almost gets the rifle because he encounters the old lady first and he punches her
Yep.
in the face.
Yeah.
The old
knocks-
Mike Tyson.
Yes. I counted that as a kill because I think that did her in. It was pretty hard and she went down and
Right.
she would have died in the fire
Right.
anyway.
Yeah, so she's toast.
So she's toast. Then he's got the rifle and
But there's only 2 bullets.
right. And another cultist comes in and confronts him, and
He's
fires.
still kind of like he's like chill. Like
Yeah.
the guy came
Yeah.
in. He's like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, we can work this out.
right.
I know a lot of shit just happened. I know you saw some stuff up there.
Yep. Yep.
And
You
just
killed a lot of our friends.
You just killed my mom or whatever. And then he's like, but hold on.
I know they're kind of reasonable
They're,
people.
yeah, and he's like, "No, you guys don't understand. March motherfucking madness." He's like,
just
"I got a
filled out my
he's like-
bracket.
He's like, I still haven't cracked that vodka bottle. You know that whole
That's
thing.
right.
That whole, how we got into this whole mess. He's like, it's back home.
Back home, I'm waiting.
We're doing pickle shots.
Yeah, I put a cucumber in there before I left.
That's right.
Too funny. So yeah, he shoots this guy,
But
cultist.
he tries, and it doesn't fire
Right.
because he
Oh, that's
hasn't.
right. Yeah, because he doesn't.
he doesn't have a bullet in
Well,
the
it's the
chamber.
Brits.
So.
You know, they don't have a lot.
They don't know have- yeah, they don't have the
a lot
experience.
of firearms, right? They're
And it was almost like the next shot. It was by accident because
Right.
he's fumbling with it.
Right.
And so that guy, yeah,
poor weapon safety saved him this time.
Yeah.
Because they're always telling us about gun safety and gun control. This sometimes just fumbling around with something.
It'll get
in
the
your-
job done.
in the back of dad's car and shooting your best friend and living with that trauma. Well, it's the same. It's just
Same principle.
It's a same principle. So, that's why we need safer gun standards or
that's it.
whatever.
Oh, there's one more kill, and this is the
Yeah,
hot chick.
I
and this was
know.
very disappointing
Shame.
for me.
Why did the
Shame.
that
They didn't need
creature
to
do it?
They
Yeah.
didn't need to.
No, but like so, yeah. Luke looks over, and one of the
Yeah.
other cult members is like kind of like
Yeah.
bowing down all of a
Right.
sudden. So he takes a gander over at the doorway, and he just sees these little dangly feet.
Yeah,
I know.
And
then drops her.
drops her, and she doesn't have any eyes now.
This was very disappointing.
He don't.
I
give a
think
fuck
this one
either.
affected all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he could. This is when we know he no longer could have had a good life at the camp.
Well, exactly that, and I think this is what their payback for giving Dom to the creature was.
Right.
He's like, "Well, I'm going to take your hot girl,
Right.
And now you
Yep.
know better."
Because the creature is still like, game on, bitch. It's still going.
Yeah.
Like we don't end this just because you've popped a few of these. More of you dumbasses are gonna fucking
I'm
have
just
an
gonna
idea
collect more. Like,
about
yeah.
somebody's gonna kill their friend in England or whatever. You'll be back.
Yep.
And right, well, kills her.
Kills her. She's dead, and then
He gets out of the house.
He does,
and he looks back and he sees the creature like dangling her.
Which
Goddamn
was
cool shot.
Again,
That was
great
a very cool shot,
because
yeah.
it didn't, and it never hit that like CGI.
No.
like-
it
And that's-
looks really good. The entirety of the movie.
Yep. So he just decides to take a shot.
Yeah,
at the
with
end
the one remaining bullet.
that he has, and he hits it, and it gets the attention. Doesn't do anything but piss off the creature, who drops the body and now chases after him.
We get a sick ass chase scene.
Yes,
So like
we do.
Luke's kind of like, I guess, hallucinating maybe a little bit because he's running through the aisles of that liquor store.
Yep.
And you see like the creature running alongside, and eventually he like tags him. But and when he knocks Luke down, and Luke's kind of like looking over, and he sees his buddy bleeding out there and an axe.
Right.
And so he reaches over, grabs that axe, and then he sinks it into the.
But you remember, and he keeps. I liked when he keeps trying to get up.
Mm-hmm.
And and he's like, "No, bitch!"
Yeah,
and he's like, keeps putting it down. He's like, "I'm in control." Yeah. He's like, "This is what I do."
He's like Bane in The
Right.
Dark Knight
Yeah,
Rises,
yeah.
where it's like, "Do you feel in control?"
Right.
It's like, you're not.
Yeah.
That would be very painful for you.
Darkness, I was raised in it.
Yeah.
Was that a good Bane, Brian?
No, dude, I love
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then, he basically now the sun is starting to come up now.
Yeah.
And he does get away, and
Well, he gets out of the forest. And I guess that's the trick.
Limiting. Those are the limiting stakes.
Yeah,
because
his magic doesn't work outside of the tree line.
yeah,
So.
the bastard has boundaries.
yes.
Which
At
is
least-
better than most men have.
No, that's true. I was actually
So it's
thinking
really
he's
it's
got
a movie
set
about
of rules.
It's a movie about consent
Love
and
that.
boundaries and
Love that.
Forward thinking and communication, and just like really the dichotomy between like you don't own people, you don't own your relationship, you don't own her.
Yeah.
Josh. You don't just do that. Anyway.
Wow, who'd have thought a $2 million making movie would have so much amazing lessons within it?
That's why I liked it. Like,
Yeah, no,
when I dropped into your DMs, like, hey, we're doing this because
I'm going to teach you fellas about consent.
About consent, and we all love consent.
We do. It's a great word. It's my favorite C word. But yeah, he gets out and then he roars back at the monster, which is a cool little touch.
Yeah, he's yelling back.
Yep.
Yeah, being like, you can't fucking get me.
Yeah, he's like, bitch, the floor is
Come
lava.
get me,
What,
daddy. You
motherfucker?
can't get
Yeah.
me. And then he heads off into the direction of civilization. He sees a car, so
Right.
we know he's going to be okay.
Right. But this is where this is where it ends.
Yeah.
But this is where it would get exciting for me. Like, how do you explain this one to the cops?
Right.
The constable, the bobbies. That's the part, like, and that's where I want them to have the sequel where it's just like, it's just a murder. It's just a murder podcast where they're going back in and they're helping with clues.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing that I think about, because you're not going to have a lot of leeway on explaining how you and your friends were, or your friends were brutally murdered by
This magical Loki's bastard
kid.
child.
Yeah,
It's a tough sell.
right? So,
But that's a lot of horror movies.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
you have
Right.
this giant ass fucking mess behind you with
Right.
all your buddies' bodies, and you're like, but it was this thing.
like, he's going to prison anyway. He could have just hung out at the commune. And this is
True,
Southern
see.
Oregon. Like, people are thriving in communes already, or whatever. And
It's true.
nobody appreciates them.
They don't.
Yeah,
Wild, wild country.
dude, I want to start one.
Well, that was my first thought when I came into your property. It was like, it's kind of culty.
It was.
Kind of culty.
I didn't mind it though.
It had there were a number of people living on this property at one point,
I could see it.
and but it was more before we built the structures. It was more like school buses and
Nice.
yeah. That's how you know you're on a community property. Is
Right. The school buses. Yeah.
the school
That's a
bus
telltale
is a
sign.
big we're not this is homeschool, right? Like, this is
Troubles a brewing.
yeah.
Well, what was your favorite scene, Michael?
I think my favorite scene is it's just that very subtle moment where he's looking down that tree line and he just sees this fucking fingers gripping around the tree. I think it's so creepy and it's so subtle. And that's some of my favorite scenes are where it's subtle.
Yeah.
And you're like blink and you miss it.
I think mine was the abandoned cabin when they got
That's-
there. It
that's
was just
true.
a very creepy, and it really kind of set the tone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Josh?
So what set this one apart was, and again, never seeing any accolades about it, right? Nobody talking about the movie, was just, I thought the acting, excellent. Not a ton of really well-known actors. The script was awesome. I think about scripts and I think about like four dudes going on a trip together, and I'm like, nobody talks like this. Yeah. Like when are we going to get a script where it's like the derogatory, slanderous conversations where you're like, yeah, you killed him, bitch. Like, yeah, you killed our friend. Fuck you. And he's like, fuck you. You know, like,
right.
I know that doesn't like it's hard to place, but it's like, when are we going to get a real dialogue between four dudes out on a camping trip? Anyway, but the aesthetic, the shots, the cinematography I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
So they put all this effort, and I think it was kind of a sleeper, horror film. And then you coupling in Norse mythology, Blair Witchy kind of shit, cabins, creepy things, just the things that like anybody that's into the outdoor world, you're like, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I've stumbled across a building or two. I've squatted a little bit, So I don't have a particularly good. I think just the creature. Yeah. I think when you're looking back when he's getting out and it is holding that body into the air, I was like, that's pretty cool. And then it drops it because it's like, oh shit, you're trying to get out of here?
Yeah,
not today, man.
Favorite character?
I mean, I gotta go with. Is the creature a character?
Sure.
Yeah,
I
gotta go with the creature then. The thing is so fucking cool. It's one of my favorite creature designs of all time. It's like it's up there for me.
Yeah,
as far as the best. Yeah,
I think Luke probably my favorite character.
Yeah, great actor.
Yeah, very good actor.
We wouldn't have had any of this without the junkie. So
that's true. That's true.
Character is junkie number one.
Junkie number one.
I really thought he hit his stride acting wise.
That was Matthew Needham. So Matthew, if you're listening, shout out to junkie number one. Right. I'd like to see what his IMDb is that International Movie Database?
IMDb.
Yeah. I'd love to see what he starred in.
Yeah.
This and nothing else.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, he needed to go out on top.
No, he did the ritual, and then he will also be plugged in this podcast. Like,
well, that's true.
Mentioned,
honorable we need to get that to add to his list.
Yeah, exactly.
His accolades.
Yeah.
Favorite kill was Dom's kill because it was really the only one you got to see other than the murder at the very beginning because everybody else you don't actually you see them disappear. But so that was my favorrit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think
we were all waiting.
Yeah, and it was so satisfying.
Yeah, we wanted it.
Finally.
Yeah. Final kill count in the movie 18.
That's pretty good.
And I give it 4 stars.
That's exactly what I gave it to. I gave it 4 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, 18 kills. That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Good. Yeah.
Right?
It's not too shabby.
Yeah, you don't even think about it until you guys do this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like there's that many, but yeah, there's.
Once they get into that little village, that's when the numbers start jacking up.
That mini church pew area really.
That really
helped.
Really peaked. Really peaked. I finished.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Very cool. Coming up, we have our scare preview. Michael and I each have a movie that we have picked. First, don't forget to check out our friend Courtney on Jaunty Haunts. It's a podcast all about the supernatural. Courtney is a self-proclaimed seer who, after 30 years of keeping it quiet, is finally sharing her secret with the world. She sees ghosts.
Yeah, like every episode, she's just talking about these insane encounters that she's experienced that I'm like, I couldn't. She's built different than me because I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And she also has like a ton of guests who share their stories. So it's just a lot of really cool different perspectives on the paranormal as well.
Absolutely. It's very relatable. So whether you're a skeptic or a believer, you will find something to love about this. You can listen to Jaunty Haunts wherever you get your podcasts. So check that out. And Courtney's great. She was on the podcast with us several months ago, and I was on her podcast for a bit, and that was a lot of fun.
My wife's going to be on one of the upcoming episodes as well.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah, she did one.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That is great. All right, well, let us get into the scare preview. What do you have for a movie, Michael, that you are excited about?
Okay, so I originally was a hater of the beloved childhood low-budget horror movies that they were doing. Like they did like the Winnie the Pooh one, but what really sold me on it was the Peter Pan one. It's fucking good. It's creepy, and now we have Bambi the Reckoning coming up. It is coming out in, I guess, just 2005. There's no 2025.
Wow.
So yeah, later this year we're getting Bambi the Reckoning. They did put out a trailer, and it looks fucking insane. So I'm sold on these dumb little childhood characters being murderous.
Okay. Have you seen the trailer for this new movie called House of Abraham?
No.
Okay. It's a woman looking for an end to her suffering, and she checks into this House of Abraham. That's what it's called. It's a home to a mysterious cult that promises a way out. They basically will kill you in a compassionate way.
Oh, that's nice.
And she soon discovers all is not what it seems, and she has to escape before it's too late. And Abraham, who is the main guy who will take your life, tells everybody that you can change your mind at any time and leave. Not exactly the truth.
I figured.
So, House of Abraham, June 13th release.
Okay.
So,
That sounds cool.
in select theaters. So, pray to God that your theater is selected.
By Abraham.
By Abraham, that's right. Yes. So that is about it for us on this episode. The Ritual. Our friend Josh, thank you so much for sitting in. That was
thank
great
you.
fun.
Thanks for having me. And
Absolutely.
Thanks for sliding into my DMs,
dude,
Josh.
that was my favorite thing. I'm like, you guys do stuff. I do stuff.
We should
hang
do
out.
stuff
we should
together.
do
our
together.
stuff
Let's
together,
hang
yeah.
out.
Absolutely.
Gather in my compound.
I
And
need friends.
So do we. So this worked out great.
This is,
like
yeah,
it.
this is good.
All right. So next week, we're going to tackle 2008's Cloverfield.
Yeah.
It's a very, very solid found footage film.
It's one of my favorite found footage.
And so we'll be doing that film. Make sure you subscribe to us, like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. Tell all your friends about us. Really important. And you can email us too.
Yeah, openingkillpod@gmail.com.
All right. Any movie suggestions you might have or any other suggestions, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And we will talk to you next week with Cloverfield.
The Opening Kill podcast is hosted by Michael Duran and Brian O'Connor. It's produced by Mystic Cloud Productions. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram too. Join us next Thursday for a brand new episode.